Alright, this is another video, and I'm gonna call this matching. What they do, right, when they do this pedophilia type of torture, they want me to accept this as if it's me. One way they've done this is to create the same sexual stimulations like this.
Together, relate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal, or it can sort of turn off the target's sexuality.
So as they can manipulate the sexual arousal, what they're trying to do to make you accept this. So when they do that toward children of all ages, they want you to be acceptive of it. So what they do is they would make you feel stimulated toward women that you would be stimulated by, right? To create the same stimulation, so they can be like, oh, we matched it, right? So for example, I'm looking away because I'm scared to see what they can. For example, this is some women here. They're not bad looking women, of course, but they force me to get the same sexual stimulation, which I will not have naturally too. I will not get that stimulation, but because they, and I will not get it just like that. Just looking at them, I will not get like, oh wow. It will take a lot more for me to just be this level to be stimulated. But they will try to get you to be acceptive of this manipulation. So what they do is they recreate the same stimulation that they make you have toward children, toward women. So that's why I even sometimes recognize when they do this falsified stimulation toward the woman. They'll be like, okay, she's a beautiful woman. I can see myself being with her. But this stimulation I'm expecting, I'm having, is them trying to create a similar stimulation toward what I'm getting toward children. That is forced by these people. So they try to create these things like, you see, you felt this way, so we're matching. That's you. It's that illogical. I'm telling you, they have done everything possible to mind game me, like to the point where I know it's like you giving me this false stimulation. I know that she's a woman. I know she's a grown woman, but you give me this false stimulation, and it's nonstop. It's a way to try to get you to accept this. Target individuals, these people have this level of mind games that is just unbelievable. They want you to accept these pedophilia type of things and want you to think that they're not doing this. These people are very systematic. Thankfully, they can get you to be aroused at any point on anything. For me, this be specifically on children, but to create this match, quote unquote, they say we match. They make me have the same experience towards women, so they can say, you see, you like, the way you look. And as I'm speaking, they try to find ways to twist things around. The way you look at women, so the way you react to women is the same the way you react to children. So you see, we matched this. You felt this feeling before. You see, you're feeling it right now toward this. Is she not a beautiful woman? So they get you to feel the same ways. So they can say we match. They create their own patterns. They create their own matches, and say we matched, because they want you to accept these obvious manipulations toward children as if it's organically happening. There's one thing they were doing before, so it's something that they do to disturb me sometimes. Is they want me to. So in 2014, I keep saying in 2014 I followed this person. She looked like an adult. She looked like an adult. I couldn't believe she was not an adult. And of course, me as a 20-something-year-old, I'm looking at her like, oh, she looks like an adult, not by looking at all, and look like an adult, like, so I'm thinking she's like 20-something, early 20s in college maybe. I made the mistake. She wasn't an adult, even though she looked like an adult. So she looked like an adult, but she wasn't an adult. This is a picture of her, and obviously now is not. That's not a picture of her when she's, that's a picture of her when she's an adult already. But she looked exactly the same. I didn't want to go and take a picture of her, take a picture of her when she was not an adult. So this is a picture of her. She's about 21 years old in this picture, right? She's about 21 years old, but she looked exactly the same way. Now you can see with just that's looking at that picture, that you would think that, like if she looked like this and she's not an adult, you'll think she's an adult just by looking at her like that. So me at 27-year-old looking at a person like this, I want to follow her. And today, what they're doing, they're making me, for example, as I was showing this picture, have forced sexual stimulations. Obviously, this is an attractive person, woman, as you can see. Obviously. But I will not have these sexual stimulations. And the other thing is like, oh, so you think she's attractive? I mean, and they're like, oh, they'll see that. Sorry, but this picture shows, what I'm saying. Now, obviously, she also looked like, well, this picture is her. It's her as an adult, obviously, but she looked like that before she was an adult. She looked almost exactly the same. Right now, that this picture is her of an adult. Of course, I'm showing her as an adult to show how she looked even when she was not an adult. So the reason why I see her like that is because she looked like an adult. Because she looked like that. Right? This is her right now, and this is not her right now, but that's her when she was an adult. Right? She's an adult here, but she looked the same way. Now you can understand that if somebody looks like this, one might think that they're an adult and perceive her as an adult, which is what happened in 2014 when I was about 27 years old. When I just turned 27 years old, right? And she was about to graduate high school, looking like this. I did not know that. I thought she was an adult. As me, somebody who didn't know her, had no idea about who she was, thought this was obviously an adult because she looks like that. So I thought she was an adult, right? Wasn't the case. She did look like an adult, but she was not an adult. But she looked like that. Now they're like, oh, you think she's attractive? Okay. So I'm not gonna let them live the little fantasy. But what happened is they made me have this sexual arousal, a forced sexual arousal. And I was like, okay, you're doing this because right now what you're doing, you're forcing me to have sexual arousal toward children, and you're trying to recreate that toward people like that. Women, she's a woman, an adult woman. This is her as an adult. Even though she looked like that when she was an adult, this is her as an adult. And so they make me have this stimulation toward women so they can be like, oh, you see, we matched it. No, you are forcing me to have sexual stimulations that aren't happening organically, even toward women. I will not have sexual stimulation of that nature. It would take so much more than just looking at a picture to get this stimulation. I will have to be in an intense state of sexual, they crank it up, you like, what the? It's just weird. You are extremely forcing. I never had the sexual stimulation of that nature, especially. I never had the sexual stimulation toward sexual stimulation of that nature or any toward her. But of course, as you can see, this is not a bad looking woman. But I've never had sexual arousal like that. I've never. But I know why you're doing this. It's because they're trying to get you to think, oh, we matched. You see, you think she's, you think she's appealing woman, right? Now get these stimulations. Oh, we're gonna go for that little kid, that little 13-year-old, little 12-year-old, little. You see, we matched it. They are super, super the deceptions and the manipulations, and that's why when they make me have this arousal, it's like, oh, even toward the women, I'm like, oh, that brings me back to when you guys do that to kids, because I know it's falsified. They play this game to get you to accept these stimulations. It's all a manipulations of some sort. I know, I feel it immediately. I feel it. It's so disgusting. I remember they did this with this man, very very appealing woman. Oh my, she was, very very sexy woman, and they made me have this false stimulation, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know this is fake. It was so intense. I recognized it. It was like, this woman is a very sexy woman, but I know when you guys make me have those fake stimulation, I can tell. I was like, oh, you're just doing something with sexual arousal. I can tell it. I know when it's not natural, even toward a very sexy woman. It's like, oh no, this is just too intense. I will not have this. This is just too intense. It will take a lot for me to be this intensely stimulated. It will not just be looking at somebody and, oh my gosh, no. But the reason why they're doing this is because they do this disturbing sexual arousal toward children, and they'd be like, oh, we matched it. That's you. That was you. It's all about manipulation. And I'm saying that because I'm able to express it the way they don't like to hear it. Oh, they think you're going to get raped by this and that, but very graphic, very disturbing. You're going to be manipulated. It's going to be horrible. Like, because I'm saying, even toward women, as sexy as they can make me have a forced sexual arousal that I can feel it. And immediately when I feel it, it's like, oh, nope. You're doing this false thing. You're doing this forced stimulation. I know it's fake. This brings me back. I recognize this fake stimulation because you've been doing this lately. Not lately, but since August 19, 2019, toward children. And now I recognize when I have these fake things, this fake feeling, even toward sexy women. And I don't mean to be graphic, but I just want to bring up the point that it's more than just stimulations, and they are trying to trick you into accepting these things, to make you accept this. And throughout this whole process, they want you to feel guilty. Now, listen, target individual. The games they play are meant to make you accept this. The games they play is meant to force you to accept this. They're going to tell you everything to make you accept this. And they're going to warn you about all the torture. And then they're going to be like, this is going to happen to you, this and this and that, and then you're going to die. So what you tell me, what does it have to do with you manipulating me in this ways? Am I supposed to accept this now because you tell me I'm going to die after being tortured? This is the kind of people that are trying to push you to accept these things. That's why I have these testimonies, because I want them, and I want you, target, to understand, do not subscribe to it. And I will not subscribe to it. And when I watch myself go through what they're trying to make me accept, and how they try to make me accept, and what they tell me is going to happen to me, as if that's going to be the validation. No, whatever's going to happen to me, and then I'll die. But I'll never accept and subscribe to the things I know you guys are manipulating. And me dying after being tortured, does not validate you. It's your job. It's 4 in the morning. It's 5 in the morning. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to brainwash me to accept this. And I'm not letting you live your fantasy. You're not at war, but you're in a program where you, as a perp, is supposed to manipulate the subject into accepting these changes in his brain, this manipulation, these stimulations that are not organically happening, but this technology has the capability to do all these things. And you want him or her to accept those and feel guilty for those manipulations. So to all my target individuals, stay strong. Because it is draining, but know that these people, this is what they live for. This is what they have to do. It's disgusting. So stay strong.